So, Colt, on the returns this last week, is it more gap integrity, needing guys to just stay disciplined and in their lanes, or is there another issue going on still?
Yeah, you're looking at this last game. I think we had 5 punts. We covered. Sony did a good job. I think forcing one out, getting one out of bounds, forcing a fair catch on one, and then, those two that got out. I think the first one he caught it on the 3-yard line, which is really unusual. We had guys down there. We just got to do a better job finishing. So that's the emphasis of the week, is just finishing. I thought our effort was a lot better. You guys probably noticed we had a couple new guys in there. We have a rookie, Bryce Oliver in there getting his first shot at playing gunner. We signed Justin Hardy, so 8-year veteran that came in and gave us a little spark. So those two were both down there. Really on that first one, those guys are guys that we're going to need them to make that play. And then interior, I believe it was an 8-box. We did a really good job protecting in that play. We had guys down at the point of attack. We just got to do a better job finishing.
Noticed on the last punt you put NWI in instead of Bryce. Mm-hmm. So how did you feel about Bryce's job, and what was the genesis of that decision?
Yeah, no, that's a good observation. That's one that Vina and I had on the conversation. We had that conversation on the sideline. Nick's just had a lot more experience than Bryce. At that particular moment, we even had a conversation. Do we try putting this ball out of bounds? But at the end of the day, it's all about field position. And so we had the conversation about putting that ball out of bounds, putting Nick to that backside and letting him win, and he did. He split the vice, and he's down at the point of attack. That returner just did a phenomenal job just setting up the blocks. And, again, we just got to do a better job finishing.
When they're vicing like that all day, which it seems like every gunner was double-teamed, is there anything a gunner can do when it's 2-on-1? Like, what's the approach there to still win?
Sure. We like to use the sideline. So you can run out of bounds. Just as long as you're not running out of bounds on your own power, you can get pushed out of bounds. So just using the sideline, building up the speed and outrunning, but using your hands, just being more physical, being more violent. Again, it is a tough play for those gunners, but those are plays that we're going to need them to make.
What you said, I guess, to Jaquan, just about protecting the football and what he said kind of in response to Sunday.
Yeah. Well, I've sat up here and told you guys Jaquan's a competitor. So he's a fighter. He's going to fight for every yard. Now, that's one of his strengths, but now that can go against him a little bit where, he's a smaller guy, and some of these smaller guys have that unique ability to avoid these big hits. And so that just comes with experience. But at the end of the day, it's on all 11 players to give Q space. It's on me to, set up a scheme that can give him that space. So I got to do a better job of, on the punt return phase, just giving him opportunities to find that space and use his talents to make something happen. So, he'll get better, and, we'll do a better job protecting that ball.
Some of the pre-snap penalties, I know Brian said the league has said they shouldn't have been called. I guess, is there anything you can do differently to make sure that they're not called, or you just have to hope that they get it right the next time?
Yeah, the kickoff return play is just new for everyone, including the officials. So they might see something one way, go back and say, oh, man, that's actually, maybe not a penalty. We feel strongly about what we've done. We haven't changed anything with our alignment or pre-snap movement, none of that. This last week's penalty, it was on me. I'll take all the blame there with Hardy leaving earlier. You look at him, he's an 8-year veteran. For the last 8 years, he's gone right when that kicked off. And I like to use the analogy. It's like this coach back in Montana. His name's Bob Green, and he says he's like a lab on the first day of pheasant hunting season. He's pulling at the leash there. So he sees that kick and he's ready to roll. About 2 steps in, he said, "Damn, this is a new rule." So, he like anybody, we sign a new guy. We go through the new rules, make sure they're dialed in. We practice everything, and I got to do a better job anticipating, him being so anxious to play, being on the streets for those last 8 weeks, and I got to do a better job anticipating that play.
So, Nick, how's Will doing? And, it's hopefully still on target to ramp up some of his work today?
Yep, ramped up yesterday. We were kind of in a slowed down mode yesterday, but he ramped up yesterday. Plans to ramp him up again today and then kind of make our decision really tonight after practice of where he's going to go. So, but yeah, things are progressing as we had hoped.
A 50-50 split, it sounded like, in terms of starter reps
for
those guys. What's it been this week? Maybe what's the plan this week?
Will's been ramping up, so probably maybe a little more, but they're still kind of both taking kind of period by period, and then we're making sure each guy kind of gets some stuff that they've had before. So if Mason had been running those kind of plays last week, we're making sure Will takes them, and then Will's getting some of the new stuff. So it's been a mix. I would say probably 60-40 Will, and maybe just even start growing that way. So we'll see how he feels today, and then with it being full speed today.
Say he's looked good, now it's just a matter of how he feels, or still?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's looked good. He really threw a lot on Sunday before the game. So really he was on the field early. He threw a bunch. He threw longer than anticipated. He was kind of out there and he was feeling good. So he wanted to push it and see how he recovered. He felt like he recovered well, and then threw it well yesterday and today. So it's kind of keep progressing.
If he's back this week, or when he's back, seems like he's made at least some progress in the passing game over the last couple of weeks. How do you plug him in and pick up where you are instead of kind of going back to where he was?
I don't think it's all on Will why the passing game has improved, or all on the quarterback position. I think our pass protection has been a lot better. I think the receivers, our drops are down, all our assignments. I feel like we've done all those things well. So we kind of expect him to jump in with that progress where we've made the last couple weeks. He's got and I think there's probably a bonus for him kind of watching and learning and taking a step back too of watching Mason play. And Mason played really well, got the ball out in some, a lot of spots, and was able to avoid sacks. And that's kind of something we want Will to build on as well.
We spent so much time in the preseason talking about developing that chemistry and rhythm, especially with Calvin.
Yep.
Have these last couple of weeks changed your opinion on the importance of it, if a quarterback can kind of come in off the bench and open that up?
I don't know. That's kind of I don't totally know how to answer that. I think they're all just, I think with time and all those things, it's just kind of kept improving. Will and Calvin are kind of getting going a little better at some spots too, and then they've had their ups and downs. So it's just not linear, always just going that way. But I feel like everybody's kind of working the same way, and it's all improving. So I don't know if I totally have a feel, but it's definitely important, the chemistry and guys being on the same page.
What you're seeing from your right tackles?
They're really, I think the rotations kind of helped them both, where they both kind of get to go in and they kind of get to keep working, and then they get a break, but they both got a roll. And so it's really kind of helped. It doesn't feel like it would stabilize, the position by playing two guys, but they've both done a really nice job in there and kind of when their number's been called upon. So we're happy with the progress they've made. And if one of them kind of goes and just starts playing a lot better than the other one and really kind of grabs that position, we'll go that way. But we're happy with the progress we're making. Sacks are down. We're kind of giving up less pressure, so it's been an improvement.
In your conversations with Will, has he seen the game in a different way from being out?
I think so. There's some of those where he feels like he sees it differently, or boy, I see Mason doing that. That was great. And so there's some of those, but at the same time, we never really had a problem with him how he was seeing it. So I think it gives him a new perspective, though, of after you go in, you come back out, and then you kind of have to get a chance to catch your breath. I think he's going to come back and play well whenever he gets back in there.
Mason's play action number is higher, by at least 5%, maybe more than
You're
that.
talking about completions or?
No, just how often you run it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Why do you think that is, and what does that say?
I think it was just more game plan wise that the play actions were gave us more of an advantage. It wasn't really for quarterback based, I would say. It was more protection based and just kind of the looks we were getting from the defense. So more just how the game got called. And some of those games were in closer proximity, rather when you get behind, we'll be in those drop back kind of shots.
Excuse me. Brian has talked about how this is kind of an opportunity for a soft reset for Will. Do you guys see it as an opportunity to maybe simplify things for him mentally, take anything off of his plate in terms of what he's trying to process? Or are you going to approach it the same way you were when he was playing earlier in the season?
I think we're doing everything differently not everything differently than doing this season, but the way the whole offense has evolved and kind of the things we've changed and tweaked and things like that, we want to keep building on those for for any of the quarterbacks that are in there. So I think that'll stay the same of kind of the way we've called it, the way we've game planned has kind of stayed in that realm where we do our game playing just a little bit differently than we did in the start of the season, and it showed off a little bit. So
You guys are doing, trying to hit some more easy buttons for quarterbacks?
We're always trying to hit the easy button for quarterbacks. That's always the goal. But I think the play actions have helped us. You know, some of the movements have helped us. The screen game has been better. So some of those ones where there is like you're saying, it's easier thinking on those guys, and you're not in the drop back game every time. And that's also situationally for everybody. The wide receiver situation, you know, they've been banged up a little bit. You know, the tackle situation, all those things. So it all plays into it. But yes, we want to keep kind of building with what we've been having going the last couple of weeks.
Knowing Will and how he likes to take those shots, but then the scramble he has about checking it down and all of that. You're going against a Chargers team, you know, they like to play that ball control.
Yep.
How do you manage if he's in there, you know, helping make sure that everything is processing correctly and
Yeah,
he's not desperate, but still.
Totally. There's 2 or 3 plays a game where you watch all the kind of the great ones in the league right now. You watch Mahomes, you know, Burrow, those kind of things. They have that situational awareness to kind of like pick their spots. You know, third downs, I'm going to extend the play. I know I got a chance to make a play, those kind of things. But it's not doing it for 60 snaps. You know, so first and second down, we really want to not manage the game, but go through the progressions, stay on schedule, stay efficient, and kind of go from there. So Will knows that, and, you know, there's 2 teams that really, you know, we're pretty good ball control offense. We've had really good time of possession. That's also what they do. So we know possessions are going to be very valuable in this game. You know, if you get 8, 9 possessions, it's probably about what's going to be. You know, like the third quarter against the Patriots where they had 1 possession, we had 1 possession, and I could see the game playing out kind of similarly to that.
8, 9 weeks into the season now, it seems like we almost never have to ask you about JC. Is that about the best compliment you can give a rookie left tackle?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, we answer all these questions. You know, like you said, I haven't gotten a question about JC in 5 or 6 weeks, if not longer, since probably Chicago. He's played really well. He's been very steadying. The best comment for an offensive lineman is you don't even notice him out there in the pass pro. You know, he's in there, his guy's blocked. He's done a great job. You know, he gets edged every now and again. There's certainly things he can improve, but he's played really well. And then I think the continuity of him and Peter playing next to each other has really, they've got a great communication. They sit next to each other in the meetings. So those guys are really in sync, and hopefully that's something that those 2 are a mainstay for us on the left side for a long time.
Does the way that NWI's played the past couple of weeks compel you guys to want to get him more involved, or do you think the level of involvement right now is perfect for him?
I mean, how could you not want to get Nick more involved now? Every time we throw it to him, it's a first down or a touchdown. You know, you look back and you always kind of sit there and say, God, did we miss something not playing this guy earlier or getting him all these targets earlier? And we had so many guys. You know, we had D-Hop still here. We had Burks getting reps. We were getting all those other guys in a little bit. And God, you know, the compliment to him is just how he works and how he carries himself. And every time he gets an opportunity for us, he's made that play. So, yes, to get Nick going even more and more, and he's kind of a factor in the offense. You know, he's the starting X receiver, and he's done a great job. And we just want to keep building on that. So we're pretty excited about where he's been, and we're really happy for him too.
When you look at a game that might give you 8 or 9 possessions, like you said, and an opposing offense that can have long, sustained drives, I guess, what is the challenge for a play caller in an offense to make sure you're continuing your offensive momentum while also potentially having long, you know, breaks in between sequences?
Yeah, you know, the key for us is staying on schedule. So first and second down are almost as important or more important than third down, theoretically, because these guys have given up 6 conversions on 3rd and 8+. So if you get behind the sticks here, they have just been, it's been a famine for everybody trying to get some. They got a couple, Kelsey got one over the middle, a couple of those kinds. So if you get off schedule here, those pass rushers, Khalil Mack and all the other guys they got on the other side, they will crush the pocket. They play soft zone. They make you check it down. So getting behind the chains, that kind of thing is going to would be very disadvantageous to us. So that's the key. Stay on schedule, and both teams are going to really try to play the same way. So hopefully we can outplay them at their own game.
Jeffrey talked this week about getting one-on-one matchups the last 2 weeks and thriving off that. Why is he getting them, and what kind of prayers do you offer that he continues to get them?
Yeah, we're giving different looks. We're trying to force the slide, different ways to get him one-on-ones. And then, you know, Arden and Harold have been doing a good job, and Sebastian and Sweat when they're in there. So they're getting a little bit of attention too. So anytime you can get Jeff with a one-on-one and he can work an edge of a guard, I mean, it's outstanding for us because he's productive when he does it.
So you feel like it's kind of like offenses are putting that pick your poison situation up?
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's all coming together. I think guys are really right now they're hitting their stride in terms of their pass rush moves, what they're doing, what they're good at. And I think that the coaches, we're doing a better job of showing different things to force them to slide away from Jeff.
What are the expectations this week for Mike Edwards, just getting him?
Mike just got here. You know, he's trying to get caught up on the system. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot to put on his plate right now. But we have some other guys that's ready, and if he's caught up and ready to go, we'll put him out there.
You're a guy you're familiar with too. What do you like about him?
Well, he's an athletic safety, good range. He's physical. I remember when he came out of college. You know, he's another guy. We're just getting caught up, and we'll see what he does well and try to put him in places that he can have success.
How'd Mike Brown do stepping in on Sunday?
Mike Brown did a hell of a job. You know, he was preparing. He got reps last week. Just like that, it's always next man up. But he came in and he executed his assignment. He was where he's supposed to be, and he played smart football, and he gave us a chance to win.
How difficult is it to lose so many of your starters in your secondary, but also how comforting is it to have a guy like Amani who seems to be a steadying force?
Yes, I mean, it's hard. Anytime you lose any good player, it's hard on the defense. It's hard on the team. But that's why you have coaching. That's why you have development. You know, that's why OTAs are still here, because some of these guys have gotten a training for a long period of time. So when they come in there, if they hone into their training, they do an assignment, you know, they'll have a chance to have success if they look at the right things. Amani's playing very good football right now. You know, he's dialed in. I think from a big picture standpoint, he understands how offense attack now. He's not chasing plays. He's putting himself in positions to go make plays because he can anticipate right now. And I think that as long as he keeps doing the same thing, I think that he's going to keep growing and making more plays.
How's Jarvis doing? I know he's getting a lot of experience and he's got kind of the qualities you want. Seems to be on the wrong side of some touchdowns and some penalties. Where's his growth in terms of
I mean, like I say, every week everything's new for him. Like, you know, a lot of the penalties that he's had, he's like literally destroyed the wide receiver at the line of scrimmage. It's when he has to understand the contact rule. It's after 4 yards, now he has to get his hands down. And, you know, he's an aggressive guy and he's trying to stay on top. And a lot of times, you know, he's like, what am I supposed to do? But right now we're trying to just off the initial release, get his hands down, get his arm in the hip pocket of receivers, and he'll grow from that.
Do you prefer having a coach a guy to be more aggressive or to tone it down? Would you rather a guy be like Jarvis where you're having to tell him what's...
Yeah, it's hard to speed guys up. You know, if they can go full tilt and they're aggressive, you can calm them down. Some people don't like contact. This guy has no fear of contact. You know, like I said, he's a scrappy, he's a pit bull. And some of the things that, you know, he gives up or he has given up, it's from a lack of experience. And every week he's growing. And, I mean, it's funny to watch him now because I talked about it maybe 2 weeks ago. The situational football aspect of playing the position, he's starting to see it. And he's talking about it at practice. And, you know, he's going to continue to grow, and we're happy where he's at.
A little bit about having to get better at turning the page, not getting in his own head after a mistake. Just how does a young player develop that? Does that come through reps, or is there something he can work on to?
Well, you have to be intentional. You know, you have to be intentional in that. Everybody's going to give up a play at times. You know, sometimes you might not see it, but if you play in 11-1, the other guys clean it up. With him, it's just coming back to the sideline, refocusing, relaxing, not putting pressure on himself, because when he puts too much pressure on himself, that's when you see the mistakes come. And when he's relaxed, and like last week, I thought he was very relaxed. He was in the moment, and you know, he played extremely well for us.
Jack Gibbons has sort of, you know, taken this opportunity and played really well the last few weeks to, you know, with a starting spot. I guess, has this been the version of Jack that you saw all throughout training camp, or do you feel like he sort of flipped a switch here?
You know what? I think a light has gone on. You know, I guess sitting back, you know, when Ernest was here and he wasn't playing, you know, he was already getting better during the offseason. But the last 2 weeks, I mean, he thoroughly understands the defense. When you give him tips and nuggets on what a team does, he puts himself in position to go make the plays. We like where he's at right now. And, I mean, probably last week was the best football game I ever seen him play. He was all over the field, you know, in terms of the tackles that he had. He was in the right spots. And he has very good control of what's going on out there. So I like where he's at right now.
That last play regulation against the Patriots, how do you go about choosing? Okay, I'm gonna rush 3, drop 8.
Well,
Like, how do you balance that?
That was kind of we knew the potential route concept that was going to happen, and we end up checking to a certain coverage to play it, but within that check, there was a drop from the defensive tackle, and to take away, because if we were in the call that we originally had, we would have had problems covering it, and we end up dropping the tackle, and the play was forever, but we had 3 opportunities to get him down, and plus, in those situations, I've been zero blitzing a lot, so I don't think they expected to drop. But I wish we got him down and we sealed it there. Arden missed the tackle, going aggressive to the quarterback, and the ball was up in the air. I mean, they were plastering, the guys were in coverage. We fell on the short end of the stick, but we came out, responded the next series, and we sealed the game.
Chargers are a slow pace of play offense. They like long, methodical drives. On one hand, it helps your guys stay fresh. But a couple guys told me the challenge is not getting lulled to sleep. Like, how do you prep them for an offense like that?
Well, if anything, you playing against a Greg Roman offense and a Harbs offense, they want to pound the ball. And we got to play the run. We got to stop the run. And when you stop the run and when you can stop the run and force guys to pass, you take away the play action passes where they have a lot of success. And obviously they have a top tier quarterback. Herbert can sit back and drop back, but we can't fall asleep. We have to be able to stop the run. And we have to make them play in a phone booth. J.K. Dobbins is a hell of a back. I've been around a lot of these guys over there. The coaches, Mike Devlin is the offensive line coach. A lot of respect for him. So I know what we're getting into. The players know what we're getting into, and it's our type of football versus their type of football. So we're going to embrace it, and we're going to come and attack the day to have success.
How much do you think tangible production, sacks, QB hits, drives, performance for your edge rushers?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you make plays, you feel better, you feel confident, and you go out there and you play with a sense of urgency. Just like with Arden and all the guys, it's timing. Now they're starting to find the quarterback. They have confidence. They have confidence in the calls. And, sometimes we forget it's the first year in the system as well, and I think guys are more comfortable, after weeks in the system, and they're coming out there and they're making plays and they're hunting.
Jerome Baker got a chance to get involved?
We'll see. Jerome, we had every intention to play Jerome last week. It just so happened that Gibby was playing so well. I mean, so we forced a hot hand. We'll see what happens this week. He's ready. He knows what he's doing. And if the opportunity presents itself, I don't expect any drop-off.